Good morning. Welcome to the July vlog. I am laughing because I have had a very interesting start to my day. I first got in, I bought up a big box of coconut oil, dropped my bag off. I went back downstairs to go and pick up the 6 litres worth of olive oil that I've got down in the car. So I've come back up and I've come through our little back alleyway, and then the lady from the shop next door is sticky taping a label to the toilet, and she's looked at me and it's like, oh God, if looks could kill. And then she just started ranting at me. But the problem was, some words were English and then other words are whichever Chinese dialect she's speaking. So I can't pick up half of this conversation. And it's like, I'm standing there with these two, like I've got the Costco olive oil, and they come in fact, there was more than 6 litres, it was 12 litres, because they come in like a twin pack with 2 3-litre bottles. So I'm standing there with 6 litres of olive oil in both my hands, and she's just going absolutely off at me. And I understand why she's so cross, but it's like, I haven't done anything. I've only just come in. And basically, we've got 2 toilet blocks out the back. There's an accessibility friendly one, and then there's just a regular one, and then they're unisex. And I don't know what it is about people in public restrooms and how they treat them, but it is wrong. Like, at home, do you seriously leave toilet paper on the floor and leave like the wrapping of toilet paper just wherever you feel like wrapping it? Or if you can't be bothered to put it on the toilet paper holder, do you just leave it on the back of the toilet cistine thing? Like, it really does blow my mind. And they do it in these bathrooms at the back, and there's only 4 shops that actually share this toilet block, so you would think that everyone would be fairly respectful of each other. You do find, particularly in the accessibility one, that it does get a lot dirtier, people leaving paper, and we're not just talking hand towel paper, we're talking toilet paper on the floor, not flushing the toilets and stuff. So I understand why she's got so angry, but she's getting angry at me, and it's like, I haven't done it. Like, I don't do any of what gets left. And there's actually toilet paper on the floor in the corridor today. So it's like, it's not me. I don't know who does it. And she just keeps going on and on in both English, and I don't know if it was Mandarin, Cantonese, or which dialect it is. But I'm only getting half the conversation. I'm standing there with this oil, and I said, look, I gotta go. And I just somehow managed to get my door opening and just shut the door. It's like, oh my goodness, what a start to my day. I do understand why she's so cross and upset. And I think from what she was saying, that people are blaming them, which would be a cultural wrong sort of blaming. Sorry, I just noticed it's going to be a great day. I just noticed the postman out the front looking really, really confused, looking at my shop number, looking at the door number, and he's eventually come in. He says, "Is this you?" And it's like, no, that's not me. And it's so weird. I can't understand, like, it's really bad handwriting too. Don't understand what the name is. And then it's something like shop for Grand Pacific Hotel 36 Bullcock Beach. Well, we're on Bullcock Street. 36 is all the way up there because I'm number 90, but the Grand Pacific Hotel is next door, but we're part of Monaco. And I said, I don't know who it is, but it's definitely not me. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting day today. So we're going to get on and see, what the day brings. And what's that? Do I need it? No, I don't need it. That's for some gardening tools. Today I've got a few things on. Last week was actually quite busy on Friday and Saturday, and I've ended up with quite a number of empty spots on the shelf. Today I have to make some magnesium calm lotion, and I also have to make some of the watermelon face cream. I was actually going to make the lotion today, but I've actually completely run out of the face cream, so I need to make that my priority today. I'm going to get on with doing that. I need to make some foaming face scrub, but first of all I need to make sure I've got some base, so we'll make sure I've got that. If I don't, I need to make that today as well, so we can make the face scrub later. And there's a few other bits and pieces I really need to top up. Last week, I think it was busy on those days. It was the end of the Queensland school holidays. So all of those holiday makers have now gone home, but we do still have holiday makers from New South Wales, I think, who are up here. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of a busy week again this week, but it will be a little bit quieter. But as I said, I've got so much to keep me going. I'm also feeling a lot better. If you've been watching the last few vlogs, you know that I've been really, really struggling with energy levels. I'm still not where I want to be, but they have increased a little bit. So I've been able to make soap. I'm feeling a little bit happier. I'm actually also sleeping better at night time as well, which is an absolute amazing feeling, because I've always been a really, really good sleeper, and the last few years I've just slept shockingly, and that hasn't helped with how tired I've been. But the new medications I'm on, they worked, but they didn't work. So now we're trialing something else, but they really have helped to give me that little bit more energy, help me to sleep at night time. So feeling really, really good. So hopefully we'll see how much we can get done today. Even though I'm feeling better, I'm feeling more alive and have got that energy, I still can only achieve so many tasks per day before I hit that wall. So at one point I couldn't even make a loaf of soap. I then got to a point where I could make one loaf of soap, but then it would knock me out for the rest of the day. I can now actually make 2 loaves of soap and still have just enough energy to do a few other bits and pieces. So I'm slowly building those energy levels up each week. So hopefully we'll get everything done that I need to this week. But what I need to first of all go and do before we have any more things happen, I'm going to go and put my bag and my coat away. I'm going to get those recipes printed up. I actually don't have any online orders from the weekend. I have had some new orders come through on the DIY body care website, so thank you so much for supporting me there. That means an awful lot to me. But I don't have to do anything with those. It pretty much regulates itself. As soon as you've purchased, it sends you the files. All I have to do is the accounting side. So no orders for packing today. So we're going to get straight on to making once I've put everything away and made myself a cup of tea. day. I am so ready to go home. I have achieved so much. We've had a few people come through the shop, and I've also managed to make lots of things that need topping up. So we've got the magnesium lotion all done. That's got to cool down. I've got the new watermelon face cream. That is cooling. I've also got over there a 4 kilo batch of my foaming bath whip base. I did put my preservative in pretty much while it was still warm. It only gets up to about 50 degrees, and the preservative I use can actually be put into products up to 80 degrees. So it was getting quite late. It was about 20 past 3, so I actually started making that much later than I would normally feel comfortable making it. So I just sort of put the preservative in, and then I can get myself ready to start going home. So that's all been done. Hopefully all that will be nice and cool for tomorrow, so that tomorrow I now have all of the tubes ready with all the labels done up. So we'll tube all that up. I also placed a few orders today. I had to get a few things from off of New Directions, messed up my order. Those guys are so good there. I needed to get some more cocoa betaine, and I put it into my cart, and I must have, sometimes I start creating carts on New Directions, and then I just come back to it, and when I'm ready, I order. When I went onto the website, it didn't look like there was anything in my cart, so I've added everything in that I needed. I've checked out, and I must have already added a 5 kilo cocoa betaine into the cart. It just wasn't showing. I've not noticed as I've checked out. It's like, oh my God, I don't need 10 kilos of it at this stage. Once upon a time I would have, but at the moment with it being so quiet, I don't. So I gave him a quick call. I said, I have stupidly put 2 in the cart. No, that's fine. It happens all the time. Let's get that changed. We'll get you refunded. Done within a couple of minutes. So they were really, really good. And I also had to place an order with Heirloom as well. I need some new deodorant tubes and one of the ingredients that go in there. So I've got all of that done. Feeling really, really good. I am tired, but not tired like I have been. It's a really different sort of, I feel accomplished tired. So it is almost time for me to go home. I've got about 10 minutes. I honestly don't know what's gone on my days off, because I now have Mondays off, but I honestly don't know what's happened, because I went outside to go and use the bathrooms, and there are messages stuck up all over the place out there. It's like, I honestly don't know what happened. They've now got signs all over their doors saying, we're not the ones leaving toilet paper on the floor. Stop putting it by our doors. It's like, okay, something's obviously happened over the weekend when I'm not here and other shops are here. I think there's probably just a bit of, I think they feel like they are picked on because they are the only non-English speaking people that run the shops here. But then the guy that runs the bakery, I don't know what nationality he is, but his first language isn't English either. And I just think there's probably a little bit miscommunication. I just think people are just generally being impolite, and somehow when we open up the windows in the bathrooms, the paper's probably just blowing out, and because of the way the wind blows, it ends up at their door. It's terrible. I mean, if you don't do it at home, don't do it in a public place. End of. But anyhow, we're not here to talk about the dilemmas of our public toilet out the back. Oh, crazy, crazy stuff. I've got to do all my cash up, and I'm thinking I am going to actually go home 5 minutes early. I need to go to the shop on the way home. It's Tuesday. If you're here in Australia, you know that Tuesday is the last sort of day for the specials in the supermarkets, and the new specials kick in on Wednesday. And there's actually a couple of specials on in Coles that I really, really want to go and get while they're on special. One of them is my bread flour. Instead of being like $17 or $19 a bag, it's only $12 a bag. So I want to go and get that while it's on special. And there were a couple of other little bits and pieces I want to go and grab as well. But I basically only have today because I ran out of time last week and we were just too busy yesterday to do it. So I'm going to go and do my cash up, and then I'm going to head on home. Good morning. It's a little bit chilly out there, but it is looking to be an absolutely beautiful day. I've just done all my morning chores, emptying the dishwasher and all that sort of thing. And I've just ironed a piece of fabric so that tonight I can start preparing my next quilt. So if you've been watching some of the vlogs, I was making a quilt for my mum. I actually gave that to her on Monday. It's the first time I've been able to see her since her birthday. She was in Japan for a couple of weeks, and then she came back and she had plenty of things on. So Monday was the first I actually got to see her, and I gave her her quilt and she absolutely loved it. I was expecting her to go home that night and put it on the table and send me a picture of it, and I never got the picture. I think, I wonder why it's taking so long. And I actually got a photo last night of the quilt on the table, and it looks really nice. It's really brightened up the room, which is what I was hoping it would do. But apparently she took it to Mahjong with her and was showing it off to all the ladies there. So that's why there was a delay, but she absolutely loves the tablecloth. It's a little bit longer than the old one. I kind of had to work with my dad a little bit to get the measurements for this tablecloth, because she's got a larger than normal dining room table. It's a bit rounded and stuff. So I'd asked my dad to get these measurements. And I said to Mum, he must have just been really generous with the measurements. And Mum said, no, I think he probably didn't have his glasses on, because it's actually a little bit wider and a little bit longer than the old cloth, so it does hang down a little bit more. But she said it's fine because the length that I've actually now made it fits her outside table as well, so she gets to use it on both tables, so that's a good thing. But now that I've done Mum's quilt, I can go back into doing the quilt that I started for hubby and I to go on our bed. I'd started our quilt and I thought, no, I'm going to make Mum one for her for a birthday present. So as soon as I finished Mum's, I actually got on to finishing mine and hubby's, and I managed to get all of the top sort of done. This is still folded in half, but I managed to get all of the top of it done, and that is now actually finished. So I'm going to put it out on the floor and then show you. So this is going to be ours to go onto our bed, and what I've done with this one is I have actually purposely made this one extra long so it goes right down the sides of the bed, so there's no arguing and pulling and fighting for the quilt during the night. So I'm really, really happy. It looks really grey from when I take photos, but it's actually got some really pretty teals and pinks going through it. So that top is now all finished. So tonight, after we've had dinner, I will make sure that hubby has got a hold of Pepper, and I will come in and I will get the batting out that goes in between the layers. I'll get that out on the floor, cut it to the right size, and then hopefully I can also start pinning this one up tonight. I'm a little bit old school with my quilting. I was taught so long ago, before a lot of the stuff that we've got now is out, so I don't spray baste my quilts. I actually still, which I see is this new trend, I actually pin mine together, and I don't spray it for several reasons. I've considered it, and I've just thought I'm not going to do it because, number one, I don't trust that the spray is going to last long enough and that the quilt top may move, and that's just going to ruin your whole quilt. The other reason is if you're spraying it with sticky stuff, that's going to get on your needle when you're sewing, and that's going to get all into the workings of the sewing machine. My sewing machine's already about 16 years old, so I really don't want to go there with putting stuff into it that shouldn't be in there. So I am going to be very old school again, and I am just going to use my safety pins and pin this up. But now that that's done, I'm going to go and sit in the office and go and do a little bit of work. All right, so now that I am actually starting later, I do get that little bit of extra time to do some work on the computer in the morning, which has been really good. This morning, what I want to do is get another couple of recipes loaded up onto the DIY Body Care website. I'm going to put on my my foaming bath whip recipe, which I made yesterday. I'm going to put that onto there. It's a really great base recipe, and I think I have one other that I've also got saved that I've actually fixed into sellable format. I just have to create the pages. Let's have a look. Yes, I've got 3 here. I've got the cuticle oil and I've also got the face cream for mature skin. So I've got 3 recipes I can actually upload today. So I'm going to get that done. And then there's a couple of things I want to have a look at for the store as well. So I'm going to work on that, and then we're going to head down the shop, and we've got an order to pack for Lorraine. I also have those creams to package up, and then we'll see what else I can do for the day. Oh, I had such a great trip in this morning. Hardly any traffic out there, so it only took me 30 minutes to actually get into the shop, which is really nice. I was able to do a few extra things on the computer this morning, so feeling really accomplished already. Oh, it's such a great week. Now that we're down here, as I said, we've got those lotions that we're going to pop into the tubes. We've got that foaming whipped bath. I'm saying I'm having a great week, but the words aren't coming, are they? So what I actually do have to do, I have to make my original foaming face scrub, which has the activated charcoal in it. I think I've only got 1 tube left on the shelf over there, so I'll have to make some of that. I also only have 1 each left of the unicorn and watermelon foaming sugar scrub, so I need to make some of that to restock the shelves. I did have on my list here that I need to make some deodorants, but I'm not sure if I've got enough tubes out the back, and that was one of the things I ordered from off of Heirloom yesterday. Heirloom are usually pretty good with getting orders out, though surprisingly yesterday, usually if I order middle of the day on a day, she usually has it out that day as well, but I didn't get that notification, so maybe they're just really busy, and normally if I order at least by Wednesday, I have it by Friday. I don't think that's going to happen this week, but oh well, it gives me something to make next week. I do also have on here that I need to make some clay face masks, and the other thing I want to work on, I need to go and get some more of my soap boxes printed up, but I need to work on the little QR code that I've got on them. On a lot of my packaging, so this is just a packet of hand warmers, I have like a little QR code on the back of them, and that will actually direct people through to like my link in bio sort of page, where there's lots of links to Instagram, Facebook and all those sort of things. But the current code that I've got, I don't know how much longer it's going to last. So one of the things I have been working on is creating a new sort of page with all those links on. So I need to get a new QR code and pop them onto the soap boxes that I'm going to get printed up. So that will be something I probably work on this afternoon when I'm kind of, getting that little bit tired. It just gives me something I can still work on and feel accomplished for the day. I also have to go and unpack these. I am part of Amazon Vine, and every so often it's a program you have to be invited to, and then you get to test and review products. And something that came up on it late last week were these little display tier things. So I decided to grab them, and there's there's 6 different sizes, comes right up to this big one, and I figured these are going to be really good for displaying products on the shelves. So I'm going to get these unwrapped and see what I can do with them, see what I can do with some of my displays. And then they feel nice and sturdy. They're a nice, thick, heavy acrylic, and really nice shape. I got the white ones. I think there were clear ones as well, but they actually weren't available for me to get to test, but the link to these did show as clear. So if you're interested in doing these for things like markets, here in Australia, I can actually leave you links to these little stands, and I think they're going to be really good. You get them side by side and get another one. Let's see if we can get this slightly big one out, pop them like that on a market stall, and you give different sort of height to your products, gives different interest, and it really draws people in. So I'll leave links to those in the description down there where I leave all my other links as well. So I'll leave those for you guys. Gonna go get the computer plugged in. I've still got a couple of minutes, but I'm gonna get that door open because I can see there's quite a number of people already walking up and down the street. So I want to take advantage of that while I can. So I'm gonna go and get myself all sorted. Once that door's open, we'll get on to packaging all of these lotions. It is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I've actually just started to hit a bit of a brick wall. I'm starting to feel my eyelids get quite heavy and just kind of feeling it in my legs. I want to go and sit down. So I am going to listen to myself for the last sort of hour that I'm in the shop. It was really quite funny. This morning started off, there were lots of people walking up and down, lots of cars, all the spots were full and everything. But it's actually just got quieter and quieter throughout the day. So sadly, I haven't had any, I've had a couple of people walk in the door, turn around and walk back out. I don't know what it is about today, but we actually haven't had any people come in and purchase anything today, which is a shame, but hey, I got lots of things done. So there's always a silver lining to everything. You're either really busy in the shop with customers and you don't get anything done to restock the shelves, but on those quiet days when you don't get any customers, that is when I'm going to restock my shelves. And that is exactly what we've been doing today. So I've got all that magnesium lotion and the face creams done. The magnesium lotion I've still actually got sitting on my bench here because I do still have a couple of tubes sitting on the shelf, and I don't put the new batch out until the old batch is gone. It's so funny when I see, I mean, we all do it when we go and buy our milk and we reach to the back of the shelf to get the stuff from the back. So to stop me from ending up with really, really old stock left on the shelf, I only ever have the same batch number sitting on the shelf at the same time. So if you do come into my shop and you're gonna reach to the back, you're gonna get the same batch that's at the front of the shelf. So save yourself the trouble and just grab the one from the front. But it is something that I have pretty much learned to do to make sure that my stock is always nice and fresh. And don't have anything too old sitting there on the shelf, because once it gets to a certain age, either I take it home and use it or it goes up for sale. But this way of doing it, it's actually stopped me from having to discount a lot of my items because I'm always on top of that stock batch level control sort of thing. So we got those done. I then have made up a fresh batch of the foaming face scrub with the activated charcoal. I am just labelling up some more little sample sachets to go out in orders and with purchases, and then I'll get the tubes labelled up as well. I was hoping to do the foaming sugar scrub while I had it all out, but when I'm like this, I don't make much because I know that I'm likely to mess it up, so I'm just going to leave it until tomorrow. What I'm going to do instead is I'm actually going to go and sit down at the computer and finalise these new soap boxes that I want to go or want to send off to the printer. I've actually got to put the new shop address on them. I've created a new QR code for all the shopping links. I need to get that updated onto those design files as well, and then email them and double check the price hasn't gone up from what I last had it at. But that's pretty much it. I've done all my washing up out the back as well. So it has been a productive day, but I'm not surprised that I am as tired as I'm feeling. But I'm going to finish doing this tonight. If I've got a little bit of energy, I am, as I said, going to fix up that quilt. Tomorrow when I come back in, I'm going to do a couple of these things that are still left on my list to do, which includes making some of the clay face masks. We'll make that foaming sugar scrub as well. Can't make my deodorants because I'm waiting for an ingredient from ahve Heirloom, and I have actually got confirmation that it got shipped today. Normally I don't let myself run out of ingredients on the shelf, but this one particular ingredient is quite expensive, so I don't always have a backup on the shelf, and I did a really large top up of the deodorants last time and then run out of the ingredient, and I've just been so slack with putting the order in. But hopefully, Heirloom are pretty good at, once their orders go out, they get to me really, really quickly. So hopefully I'll get it by Friday, so that's maybe on the weekend I can make the deodorants. We'll see. I also need to make some conditioner bars. I keep saying I need to make the conditioner bars and I just don't do them, but I do actually need to top them up at some stage, and the vegan lip balm. So we'll see what I actually feel like tomorrow when I come in. On Friday I actually want to make candles. Sorry, someone's just gone zooming by the shop, they were sitting down on a skateboard. I was wondering why they were so low to the ground and going so fast, but some 20-something-year-old sitting on a skateboard. Zoom. You see all sorts around here. But yeah, we'll see how we go tomorrow as to what I actually get round to making. As I said, I want to make candles on Friday. Fridays have become my busiest day in the shop. So I think pouring candles on a Friday is a better option compared to actually trying to make lotions and things, which can be pretty time particular, you know, when you do things, so you don't overheat oils and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that Friday we'll do candles. So anyhow, I'm going to keep doing this, then I'm going to sit down for a bit and get that packaging done up before I head home. If I don't fall asleep in my chair before it is time to go home. All right, it is Thursday. I keep thinking it's Friday, but it's only Thursday. We're down at the shop. It's an absolutely beautiful day outside, beautiful blue, sunny skies, but it's only about 17 degrees and it is keeping people away from out of the street. There are tons of parking spots available as well. So hopefully things do pick up and get a little bit busier. But I have, as I said, I think I said it the other day, Fridays and Saturdays tend to be my busiest days in the shop as opposed to the other days. So we're going to use today to keep stocking up those shelves ready for what will hopefully be a busy Friday. I have to make the foaming sugar scrub. So we've got the unicorn dreams, I think I call it, no, unicorn fluff and the watermelon splash. They both need topping up, and I'm also going to top up the clay masks today. I am feeling energized, but I'm also feeling quite heavy in the body as well, so I don't know how much of that energy is going to come across today, but we'll just look at doing 2 things today, getting that all topped up and see where the rest of the day goes. I do need to also respond to my printing company. They came back to me yesterday. I asked them for a new quote because it has been a year since I had my boxes printed, so, you know, everything's gone up in price. So I did send off for a new quote from them. They've come back. It's gone up a tiny little bit, so it basically makes the boxes, I think, about 2 cents more than what they were, but I actually do, it went up by $29, and I actually do have a $30 credit with them, because when I got some of my boxes last year, the courier company were not very gentle with the parcels, and one of the parcels got split open and some of the boxes got damaged. So they said they could either send, like I had to go through and work out how many were damaged, and they said they could either reprint that number and send them to me or give me a credit. And I thought, you know what, it's not their fault, so I'm not going to make them pay the expense of printing and sending. I just said, give me a credit and I'll use it on the next lot. So by the time I use that credit on this new order, it'll bring them back to this $1 cheaper than what I paid last time. So I'm going to go back to her, finalize all that, finalize the design with the change of address. I'm also getting my Claytanicals done up in the new boxes. For those that are new around here and don't actually know what I'm talking about, I have my boxes, I have my soaps in these, what they call holster boxes. So they come to me flat packed like that. I just kind of do them up, and we tuck the bottoms in, and then the soaps sit in the top of them there. And although they do cost more than doing a belly band like that, I just feel they look so much nicer. They give a little bit more print space on them as well. And they're consistent as well. Sometimes when you do your soaps, if your cutter on the wires on your cutter are just slightly out by a mil or so, sometimes your bands don't wrap around them nicely, making it a bit harder to put things down the side, because sometimes it kind of, you know, creeps over to the front or the back and things aren't central and stuff like that. Whereas having my holster boxes, they are consistently the same on all of them. The other thing is it saves me so much time. I don't waste any if, you know, misprints or anything with my belly bands. I simply have to put them together, pop the soap in, and off they go. They save me so much time. So even though they do cost a little bit more than a belly band, when you look at printing costs, the misprints, the time it saves, they actually do in the end work out to be cheaper than doing belly bands through those indirect costs. Now this is how I've been doing my Claytanicals, because I was testing the range, but I've decided I really want to pop them into the holster boxes as well, so I can get the barcode and all the other bits and pieces that I can't fit on a belly band. So I'm going to get all of that done, finalized and sent off to them today, and then that will be probably about 6 weeks before I get the new boxes. So they're the 3 things I'm going to try and do today, and we'll see how much energy I have left. I do also need to do a bit of a stock take on the candles. I want to make candles on Friday to try and draw more people in. So I need to work out what I need to make, and then I can make sure that tomorrow I bring that glassware in. Now, I have got myself a cup of tea brewing out the back, so I'm going to go and get that before it gets overbrewed, get some music going, and get on with, let's do the face masks first, because they're a little bit tidier and don't make as much mess. Okay, so we've had a change of plans for this morning already. I just printed up the labels for both the Awaken and the Renew clay face masks to do those up. And then I printed up the recipes, and I've looked at it, it went, we can't make these today. The last time I actually did a top up of the face masks, I used all of my coconut milk powder, and I have just been lazy and have not gone and got any more. It's not so much laziness, it's actually finding the time to get up there. I generally buy my coconut milk powder from Bulk Source, which is about 2 blocks up from the street here. They open at 9 o'clock and I think they close at 5 o'clock. I think that's right. So when I was opening at 9 o'clock, it was virtually impossible impossible to get there unless I went on my days off, which involves a big drive back over into town, and then closing at 5. Most afternoons I was having orders that I'd have to take to the post office, so I can't be messing around going to buy things from shops in the afternoon if I want to get the orders to the post office. Now that I'm opening up at 9:30, the whole idea was to avoid the traffic, the peak hour traffic. So instead of it taking me 45 to 50 minutes to get into work or longer, it now only takes me on average about 25 to 30 minutes to get into work, which is a big difference. And so I haven't been coming in early to get up into the shops to get my stuff. So it's a bit of a catch-22, damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation. I think tomorrow I am just going to have to put my big girl pants on and leave home early, and then pop up to bulk source first thing in the morning, grab some coconut milk powder, and then when I come in and I put the melt tank on to make candles, we can make the face masks while the wax is melting. So we're utilising our time really, really well. So instead of making the face masks today, I am going to get on with making the foaming sugar scrub, get them all topped up. Then, as I said, I'll sort out this packaging stuff. I don't know if you can hear the music on my microphone, but I don't think the boss is in next door. The music's very different today, and it's very, very loud as well, like to the point that I don't really need to put music on in my own shop because you can hear it clearly. So hopefully the microphone's not picking it up, or I could get in trouble. So anyhow, let's go. I'm going to go and put my mask stuff away that I pulled out, and then I'm going to get on to making these foaming sugar scrubs. right, so I've got about 15 minutes until I close the door and go home. I'm really looking forward to going home today because I've ordered Pepper a brand new bed, and I'm really, really hoping that she will sleep in it tonight. She's so incredibly smart, and she sees you do things and it's like, I can do that too. And she's decided it doesn't matter how much we get up and take her off the bed and put her back onto her bed. She's decided she gets up onto the bed, and because we lie under the covers, Miss Pepper lies under the covers too. So she gets herself underneath, and then she turns around and she lies down so the head pokes out the top of the cover, and the rest of her's covered up. And it doesn't matter how much we pick her up and put her back on her bed, it just doesn't work. And separating her from us, it's just even worse. So it's just like, all right, I've got to find the bed that actually works for her. And I was watching something the other day, and this bed came up that's got a cover on it as well, like a little hooded cover. I said, right, I'm going to get one of those for her. And it has actually arrived today. So I'm looking forward to going home, getting this bed set up and seeing if I can get Miss Pepper to stay on it. I bet she doesn't, but I'm trying. I'm really, really trying. I think summer might be better time for doing it when it's not so cold. I think that's why she's mainly getting up and getting under the covers at the moment, because it is cold at night, but she doesn't like wearing a jacket. You put a jacket on her and she just freezes and she won't do anything. It's like she's got a straight jacket on and won't move. It's so funny. But anyhow, it's been a pretty productive day, even though I've had no online orders and no customers. The only person I've had come into the shop today asked me where another shop was. It's always the same. I always end up playing Mrs. Google in my shop and telling people where different things are. It's so frustrating. They never go into the other shops, just me. But anyhow, it has been quiet, but I've got lots done. So we got the foaming sugar scrub all done up. I have finalised my printing, and I'm just waiting for the bill to come through from them so I can get that paid. I then decided to finally do up the conditioner bars, and then I realised I'm really low on the BTMS 50. It's really bad. Usually I always have backups, but because things have been so quiet, I haven't really been having that backup of ingredients. So normally if I have, say I have a bottle of glycerin sitting on the shelf, there'll be one open and one brand new that hasn't been opened yet. So as I then finish one, I open the next, and then I order myself another one. But because it has been really, really quiet over the last sort of probably 18 months with that slow in economy, I haven't had that backup of ingredients, and I haven't really changed my way of ordering. It's basically, I get to the point of, oh, it's run out. So I really need to get into that thing of, right, I'm halfway through now, I need to place another order. So I do need to order some more BTMS 50 because I've got to stock up the shampoo bars, but just trying to decide when to do that, because the massage place next door, they start at 8:30 in the morning and they're open 7 days a week. So it really does mean me coming in really early in the morning and making the shampoo bars on, I'm thinking coming in on a Sunday, because then the hairdressers aren't here. It's only really them that I potentially annoy. And sometimes they open before 8:30. So it's like, well, if you're going to open before your opening time, I can't help the noise. So I've got to find a Sunday to actually make that. But first of all, I have to order the conditioning wax so I can do them. Anyhow, got all that done. I am going to go and do the cash up for the one. And you know, I tell a lie, I did end up with two people. So I had one person coming in, asked me where another shop was, and I had another lady come in this morning and she bought a room spray. So I need to go and do the cash up for that. I completely forgot about her until then. Oh, that's terrible. So I'll go and do that, and then I'm going to head home. I go and see what Miss Pepper's bed's like. I'll probably end up curled up in it myself, and she can have my half of the bed. All right. So the new bed did not work. You can see we've got quite a few different options for her in here, because we're just trying so desperately for her to stay on her bed all night. But this is the bed that I got for her. If we take these blankets off, she actually did stay on it until about 1 o'clock, and then she decided, no, I'm going to come in. Oh, to your bed, but it basically has a little cubby in here. Are you going to get in, Miss Pepper? She was actually getting in it yesterday. She gets a bum in and she curls in and underneath. Oh no, we're going to put our bum on top. So the idea is she's actually meant to get in and underneath it. She was doing it last night. She's, you know, it's morning, it's not bedtime, but yeah, this is what she's actually meant to do. And then she can snuggle in underneath it at night time. And she did stay in there until about 1 o'clock this morning. And then she decided, nah, your bed's more comfortable. Your doona's more comfortable to lie under. So I'm going to come back on your bed. The audio for showing you Pepper's bed is probably going to be rubbish because I forgot to put the microphone on. But after I finished dinner last night, I came in and I pinned up a bit more of my quilt. Really impressed with how quickly I'm getting this one pinned up, if I do say so myself. This is actually bigger than Mum's quilt, and my mum's quilt took me over a week to actually pin, and I've done this one in less than a week. Tonight when I come home, we'll have dinner, we'll watch Mastermind because it's the finals tonight. And then I just have this bit that's hanging down over the edge, like the whole sort of length, to do some pinning. I am a little bit gutted though because I was trying so hard to make sure I had just enough wadding across the bottom, but if I come down here, you can see I don't have enough. My cutting skills, I must have gone wonky under there, and I'm missing just a little bit. So I just have to do what I was hoping not to do, and that is just to ladder stitch a little bit more wadding on there. It doesn't actually hurt the quilt. I just don't like having wadding seams in my quilts, but it is going to be right on the very edge. And if it's on like the edge that goes up the top, that can be hubby's side, because I don't like having that bit. I really do like to have one piece on my backing and one piece of wadding. So I should have thought about it before putting the borders on and make sure that I made it so it would fit. But oh well, these things, you know, it's been a while, as I said on my last video, since I actually made a quilt. So this is only the second one in the, well, it was 8 years ago that I made quilts. So the second one since then. So it's just something to remember the next time. But what I'm going to do, I've got about, it's 7:30. So I've got about 40 minutes before I need to leave the house. So I'm going to sit and start editing some of the video, and then I am going to head into the shop early. I've put my big girl pants on today. I'm going to head on into the shop early, and we're going to go and grab the coconut milk powder so that I can make those face masks when I get in. Okay, so today was a really good sort of reminder of why I'm now starting at 9:30 instead of 9 o'clock. I did leave home at about 20 past 8, and I got into the shop. It was about 8 minutes past 9, so it's taken me almost 50 minutes to get into the shop, whereas when I've been doing the 9:30 starts, I'm leaving the house. In fact, the other day I left just before 9 o'clock and I still got in by 25 past 9, so it's a huge difference. So it was just a good reminder of why we've made these changes. I'm so out of breath. I have just bought up some more wax. So just quickly check the wax tank, and there's not much in there, so I've just been down and grabbed some more wax to go into the tank. I've bought up candle jars. I know you can't see them, but I have bought up candle jars. So I'll be wicking those up in a bit. And I have also just been up to, is that the one? Up to bulk sauce, yes. And you probably can't see it in there, but I have got my coconut milk powder in there. It smells really good. While I was in there, I did also get a few things for at home. They do nice chocolate drops. They're a dark chocolate and they're dairy free, so I often grab some of those. So when I'm at home and I just have that sort of, you know what, I'd really like a chocolate cake or chocolate muffin or something, I can actually go and bake a chocolate chip muffin or biscuits or something, and I know that I can do it all dairy free. So I've been making sure I've got a few of their little chocolate drops in the cupboard, and I did actually use them up the other day when I made us some muffins for our breakfasts. And I also grabbed myself a little bit of breakfast this morning in this one. It's like a little nut muesli bar thing, so I grabbed myself one of those. Gonna make myself a cup of tea and enjoy that. Got to go and get my door open. I'm starting to catch my breath now. Go and get everything set up. We are going to make candles today, so I'm going to get the wax into the container. While that's melting down, I'm going to prepare my jars. I bought a couple in from home. This one was a test candle and it didn't work. There were some wicks I was sent, should have fitted this jar. Nah, don't. So got to get those cleaned out so I can refill for myself and then do the restock for the shelves. And then also while that's all happening, we'll make the dry face masks. I also have my conditioner bars to package up, but they did set a little bit funny overnight, so I might have to give them a bit of a blast with the heat gun to get them to go nice and smooth. I don't know why they've set up so funky looking this time. I think it's because I've had the heater probably blowing down on them and it's just been enough to give that little disturbance as it's setting. So just need to get those fixed up, packaged up and onto the shelf. So got to get on with the day. Fridays are usually a good day for me. Hopefully today will be as well. It is raining, but there are quite a few people walking around. So we're going to get that door open and see what sort of Friday we have. It is almost 12:30. I'm hungry, so I'm going to stop and have something to eat. It doesn't help, but every time I go into the back area there, it smells of chocolate from the chocolate buttons that I've bought. They just smell so good, and it's just made me really, really hungry. So I'm going to stop and have some lunch, continue on with the day after that. But it has been a really productive morning. I've only had one person actually come into the shop, but lots of people walking by saying how nice it smells. So kind of not the result I wanted, but it is what it is, especially on these grey, miserable days like this. But as I said, I have managed to get a fair amount of stuff done this morning. So the candle top up is not a huge one, but it is enough just to refill the shelves of some of the scents that have been selling. You know, I like to have at least 3, if not more, of each of like the mediums, and I like to have at least 6 of the small of each of the smells. So if people do come online and buy multiples and I've got people in the shop, I'm likely to have them on the shelf and get those orders out nice and quickly. I also made some candles to take home with us. These had all burnt out. When I do my candles for at home, because I've pretty much become used to the smells that I have in the shop from making them all the time, when I take them home, I don't always smell them. Hubby does, but I don't always smell them. So whenever I make ones to take home, I always pick scents that I probably use in soaps, or maybe it's something that a company has sent me as a free sample, and they go into the candles that we take home. So the ones I'm taking home today, I did a limoncello because I know hubby's gonna love that. I have a tonka bean. Now, although I don't like vanilla, I do like tonka bean. It smells a lot more like vanilla than a vanilla fragrance, which just to me smells of chemicals. And then I have a beachy sort of fragrance. It's a special blend that I do that I often put into like my seashell soap and stuff like that, and it's just a blend of different fragrances, and I've had that sitting out the back, and I thought, I wonder what it's like in a candle. So I've made one for me to go in my office. So all those candles are done. I will be labeling them up tomorrow. So as I said, the wax was melting quite quickly, and once I had the jars all wicked up, it was almost ready, but there was still a little bit left to go. So I actually got onto melting down the tops of these conditioner bars just to get them a little bit flatter. I do feel that the movement from off the heater above it was actually moving the liquid around as it was setting, so they just didn't set nice and flat. But they're now actually all looking really good. So this afternoon I'll be able to put them into their biodegradable film and into their boxes. So as I said, I've got to package those up, then make those clay face masks after I've had a little bit of lunch. And I think while I'm eating my lunch, I'm going to finalise the design for the soap boxes and get that sent off, because I did pay my bill for it this morning. By the time I got that credit put on there, they're basically the same cost as what I paid from last time. So really, really happy with that. And hopefully I'll have them in the, I think it's about 4 to 6 weeks, they say, for a print turnaround sort of thing. So hopefully we'll have them within the next, if not next vlog, the one after that. We'll see what happens. I wanted to share something with you as well. You know that while I'm working, you often see me with my earpiece in. I actually listen to podcasts while I'm working. When people come into the shop, I do take my headphones out, because I do think it's very rude when people have got earphones in when you are trying to, you know, communicate with them and things. So while I'm working and there's no one in the shop, I listen to podcasts. Generally, I do listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. When I was actually in high school, I loved doing law, and I especially loved doing criminal law. Things happened when I was in high school which really actually changed my opinion of following up doing criminal law, but I'm still actually very interested in it, especially the psychology behind criminal law as well. So I do listen to a lot of the true crime podcasts. Hubby's always very, very concerned, but I've told him you can't get away with it, so you're fine, everything's good. But anyhow, I do generally listen to those, but most of the true crime ones I've listened to, you know, there's not that many news stories. They're all kind of repeating each other. So I've been looking for some other podcasts to listen to, and I stumbled across Ballen Studios, Ballen. The first one I actually stumbled across was Mr. Ballen's Medical Mysteries. It's absolutely fascinating listening to illnesses that people have had and like the whole diagnosis process and what they are that are causing them to be sick. But then I found out he's actually got this whole studio of different podcasts, and I've started listening to one. I started listening to it last night, and it's called A Twist. We've got to have a look at what it's called now, so I get it right. A Twist of History, and it is absolutely fascinating. The different things, like how Hollywood came about, like the lead up to what created Universal Studios, Warner Brothers, and all those sort of things. I've also listened to others about America and why I kind of vaguely knew why America used the imperial system rather than the metric system. I'd heard a very brief history of it, but he's actually gone in and done a big deep dive into it, and it's absolutely fascinating to sit and listen to. So if you like listening to podcasts, you want something completely different, go and have a listen to this, A Twist of History. It's absolutely fascinating. But as I said, I'm hungry. I'm going to go and eat my lunch, and then this afternoon we'll get on with making some more stuff. Late. I really am running late. I went to leave the house this morning and I got out to the car and I thought, oh, I need more orange bags. I need to bring some more of my little orange bags down. I don't think I got to show this in the last vlog, but I was excited about using the last of my paper bags. I've now used them all up and I've now swapped over to my little orange bags. These are exactly the same size as my little paper bags were, but they're just in that reusable material, same as my bigger bags, and these were actually cheaper to get done up than the paper bags were. So, and I'm really happy with them, and everyone that gets one of these little bags, it's like, oh, they're so cute, and they absolutely love them. The only thing that does frustrate me is when I give bags out. I don't charge for my bags. I think it's a part of doing business, but I give people a bag and then they shove it inside another bag, and it's like, you've probably actually paid for that bag that you've put mine into, and you're advertising someone else's brand that you've paid that bag for. I've not charged you. Can you at least advertise my brand for me down the street? But you know, what can you do? You really can't do much. I do make sure that if I don't have to pay for somebody's bag, I make a point of actually then advertising it, and I won't pay for branded bags unless I've got my shopping bags, because you know, they were just convenient. But if places, you know, when you go and buy clothes, you've just spent a couple $100s on clothes, and then they want to charge you 50 cents for a bag that's got their branding all over it. It's like, no, I'm not going to pay to advertise you. Anyhow, that's a high horse. Let's get off it. So I quickly grabbed my orange bags, went to get in the car, and I thought, I forgot to pick up my New Directions order from off the table. Love the colour of the box. I forgot to pick that one up off the table, so I had to run back into the house and grab this box. And then I got into the car, set off on my way, and caught every single red light that I could actually get along the way. So I'm running really, really late. So we're going to get everything set up. Oh, what rubbish have they included this time? Oh, I hate when they include these things. I'm really not interested. I sound ungrateful, don't I? What's this one? A vitamin complex foaming cleanser. It's a beauty. Often New Directions will include freebies in their orders, but they usually include things like ready-made products that they think people are going to buy and then just sell on their shelves. The fact that I'm ordering raw ingredients just says to me, I'm not interested in buying pre-made products. And quite often I can't use their pre-made products at home because it usually has the preservatives in that I don't get on well with. But I can't actually see, the writing's so bad on there. I can't actually see where the preservative is. I think I might be all right. So I'll give it a go at home and see what it's like. But I prefer it when they actually send, I have had samples of raw ingredients. The best one they ever sent me, they actually sent me a 200ml bottle of argan oil. And I absolutely fell in love with the stuff. And now I actually regularly order argan oil. 200ml bottle is a really, really generous size sample or to give away to people. Usually you'd get like a 50ml or something, but I fell in love with this oil and now I actually buy it quite regularly, so it did work. But when they keep sending me stuff, and at one point they were sending me multivitamins, it's like, no, that's just not on. So ungrateful, aren't I? But yeah, I do prefer it when you actually get, if you're ordering raw ingredients, send a raw ingredient sample. If someone's already ordering things like these pre-made products, then sure, send them a pre-made product. But that's just not what my business is all about. So yeah, anyhow, we'll take that one back home and I'll try it. If I don't like it, quite often I've had stuff from them and I can't use it on my skin. So if I don't like it, I'll just give it to hubby and I'm sure he'll use it. So, because he often does, he often gets that sort of stuff, because I don't know what it is in their stuff that usually sets my skin off. But I can't see anything on there that will possibly set it off. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyhow, I've got to go and get all this stuff packed away. I've got some more distilled lemon essential oil. As I said, I got that cocoa betaine. I have also had the credit. I've also got some Manuka honey powder to make my glow face masks with too. So I'm going to get that done. I'm going to go and get my door open because, as I said, I'm running late and it's now 9:05. No one out there, but you know, still got to get that door open just in case. I'll get everything tidied up and then I will let you know what my plans are for the day. I am all set to go for the day. So I was putting my trolley out this morning. There's got like a trolley with little things to entice people to come into the shop. And as I looked up, I saw my opening hours on the door, and I'm thinking, they're not right. And they haven't been right for at least 4 or 5 weeks since I did the last vlog, and I changed my shop hours, and I changed them to 9:30 till 4, Tuesday through to Wednesday, 9 till 2 on a Saturday. And I did update my close days and my opening hours, but for some reason on Saturday I wrote 9:30 till 4 o'clock on there when it should only be 9 till 2. So that's been up there for a few weeks. I really do hope people haven't been trying to get into the shop late on a Saturday or later on a Saturday. So I have just quickly printed myself up a new opening hours, just laminated. It will get it trimmed and back into the window there. I can't do a 9:30 till 4 on a Saturday. Most of the shops in the street shut at 2 o'clock, and there's just no point being open. I've tried it. I've tried being open till 4 o'clock on a Saturday, and I just didn't see anyone past 2 o'clock, so no point. So I've fixed all that up. We'll get that in there. Things I've got to do today. We've got to take the wicks off, all the excess wick off all the candles, get them labelled up, pop them onto the shelf. I then also have an order that's come through for Doris. So I've just been and picked all that. She's one of my Pamper Club members. We've got a little box of soap samplers in here. Got some candles, and we've got a little sweet orange chili pepper melt. I've also popped in a little ray of sunshine, and we've also got one of the Awaken clay face masks for her as well. And as part of the Pamper Club, she gets to one of the new lip balms in there too. So that's all ready for me to go ahead and pack. Now I'm not going to be doing too much today, being Saturday, no making things, because I just don't have time to, package and everything, and I don't like things sitting on my bench for a couple of days. But I am feeling really, really energized now. If you've been watching for the last few months, you know that I really haven't been myself. I haven't had as much done. I've been tired, I've been lethargic, I haven't been putting out much new stuff, getting behind on everything. As you know, my doctor set off a light bulb in my head that I'm in perimenopause, and just that acknowledgement has helped so much. It is just acknowledging that I'm not going crazy, that there is actually something happening, has really, really helped. There's a few other things I've done in my life as well which have helped. We've changed diets and changed other things we've been doing, and the doctor and I have been going through different medications. They are script medications, so here in Australia we're not allowed to promote script medications, so I'm not going to say what they are on here, and I'm not allowed to really promote them. But they have been helping. You just need to go and speak to your own GP about it. The biggest problem for me is that both my mum and my dad's side of the family both get blood clots, so I'm not allowed to have HRT or hormone replacement therapy because of it. It puts me in a higher risk for blood clotting. So that's not an option for me. So we've been looking at other options that are available. And although the first option hasn't worked as it should, it did improve things as well. So we've moved on to the next option, which will hopefully be an improvement and will work. So we'll wait and see how things go. But anyhow, I am feeling a lot more energized. I'm not as tired during the day, so I'm getting more done. And these ideas that have been floating around in my head, it's like now is time to actually put these into working ideas. So the first thing I did was got that DIY body care website up and running. Thank you, Megan, for ordering the clay face mask formula the other day. I did see that one come through, and I've had a couple of other people already ordering on there too, which is absolutely fantastic. And I do have ideas for growing that website, particularly for people in Australia, where I might be able to do kits on there as well. But for now, we're just going to get all the recipes on there one step at a time. But something else that I have been desperately working on for so long, I've been trying to get into the wholesale market, but for me, it doesn't work. I just cannot get my products out there wholesaled. I've had a couple of not mishaps, but I've had people do the wrong thing by me with wholesale. I'm always very, very skeptical of people who want wholesale at Christmas, because generally they don't want to wholesale the products, they just want them as cheap Christmas presents. So I basically don't wholesale, I don't take on new potential wholesale accounts at Christmas time anymore, because I'm not in it to, you know, make cheap Christmas presents. But I have been stung quite a number of times in different ways with wholesale, and I've just never really been able to get it kicked up off the ground. So I have been thinking, and I have been inspired, particularly from Catherine over at Coconut Luxe, kind of really changing my thinking of doing wholesale, and rather than wholesaling my branded products, I'm thinking about actually doing white label instead. So no more wholesaling my products, no more labeling to, you know, with my brand and stuff on, but instead offering what we call white label. So basically if I sell you, it won't be candles, but if you order white label candles, you won't get the label, you'll just get that sort of thing. And there'll be minimums that people have to buy. I'm not going to do candles, they're too heavy. But I am thinking about doing white label soaps. So if you are someone who wants to sell soaps, or maybe you've got a craft fair or something coming up and you want to sell some soaps, I want to be able to do white label on that, so you can order the soaps and then package them up with your own branding, labels and that sort of thing. Just trying to work out a little bit of the logistics on that. But I have decided that one of the first things I am going to go ahead with on the white label are my lip balms. And I've just decided, rather than putting my labels on them, I'm just going to sell them white label, either in black or white tubes, and you can choose the scents, and just sell them as, yeah, it will be almost like wholesale, but without my branding on, and then you can brand it into your own sort of business. So if you are a soap maker and you really want to have some lip balms on the side, but you just don't have the space, or you don't have the time to work out a formula, or you don't want to invest in all the extra ingredients and that sort of thing, you can basically come along to me, order some lip balms. I'll send you the made up tubes, and then you pop your labels on and sell them for whatever price you want. You're then not governed by my prices either. So I typically sell my lip balms for $4.95. But if you live in an area where you can charge $6.95 for a lip balm, you go ahead. Like, by doing it as a white label, it gives so much more flexibility to people. So the lip balms are going to be the first thing I'm going to work on. But where am I going with this? It's because one of my tasks today is to go sort these lip balm lids out. A few years ago, I was struggling to get my lip balm containers here in Australia, and I ended up going to a company on Alibaba. Very, very naughty, because I'm actually not meant to do that sort of thing. But I did go to this company. I was absolutely desperate for them. I ended up ordering 3,000 tubes from them. And it was really wrong what they did. I got all the tubes in a box, and then I got all the lids in a separate box. And everything looked fine when I first started going through them. And I wrote great review and all this sort of stuff. And then as I started getting further down the box of my lids, I realized there was a really, really big problem. And by the time I realized it, I was outside the protection policy on Alibaba. So I couldn't go back to the company and say, hey, this isn't right. And I also couldn't amend my review that I'd left of them. But this is the problem. Let me grab that one there. So this is a lid. Come on, focus on, not me. That's the lid off a lip balm tube. Boring, I know. That is a good lid. Oh, this is also a lid, but they are side by side. You can see the problem. That one is really, really short, and that's not too bad because it is also fairly sort of even, so I could possibly get away with it, but I think it's actually way too short. But there are others in here. I've thrown away tons and tons and tons of them because they are just so, well, not tons, but I've thrown away a fair amount of these lids because they're just not good. Like, you look at this one, let's get a piece of white backing. You look at this one, if I can get it, because it kind of needs to go I don't know if you can see, but it's not straight. Like it's cut at an angle, so it doesn't go onto the tubes. And I've probably got a couple of hundred tubes where I don't have lids to go on them. I am so disappointed with what happened. So what I actually need to do is go through this box and find out how many good lids I actually have. This morning I did order some new lip balm tubes. We don't seem to have the problem with being able to get the lip balm tubes anymore. So I did actually go and order some more lip balm tubes in the black. But I just want to know how many of what I've got is actually worth keeping or getting rid of, because if I'm going to white label, occasionally I might come across, I'm just going to see if this is kind of one, again, I don't know if it's really going to show, but you can kind of see that it's not even the whole way round, but it's still fairly full. So you come down here and it's like someone's just wiggled the knife. Now I can kind of get away with putting that onto one of my tubes. Especially some of these, I've actually just used them for the tubes that go home to hubby, because he can just have the dodgy lids. And if it's too dodgy, he just changes it over with another one he's got. But I'm figuring if I'm going to be selling these as white label, I need to have the lids perfect. Like, I can't be selling them dodgy. So I'm going to go through, sort out how many of these are actually going to be suitable for use, then count the number of tubes. And then I think this afternoon, one of the things I will start looking at is seeing which flavours I can wholesale. Some of them have only got a little bit of flavour oil left and I can't get any more of it. But then I'm going to sit down and work that out. And then on my days off, I'm going to start, first of all, try and work out how to get it onto my own website so people can come directly to me. And then second of all, try and get it onto Fair as well. I'm going to take all of my current wholesale stuff off Fair. It's not working at all. And I'm just going to pop them onto Fair as white label. Anyhow, that's enough yakking. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea. It's more important to get those candles labelled. So that will be my next task, as well as packaging up Doris's order here. So yeah, that is the plans for today. right, so I finished going through all of those lids. I was able to salvage 66 out of that container, which really wasn't very many. With those lids that were left, they were either too short, so they weren't going to actually clip on. They weren't cut straight. It was really, really bad what's happened with them, and I had no recourse. It was my own stupid fault. I should have done a lot more digging around in the box to make sure everything was fine. All the top layer of the lids were fine, and it wasn't until I got through that top layer that the problem started to come up. So my own silly fault, lesson learned. I do now have a new supplier. Now all the lids that I have had to throw away, I've actually gone and popped them into the plastic recycle that we've got here. We've got an excellent recycling system. So they've gone into the plastic recycle. So hopefully they'll go through and then become something else later on. What I'm doing now, I've got the white lip balm tubes here. I'm just going through, I'm popping some lids onto some of these empty containers. I think I have got enough now, and I'm going to take these ones home with me. I've got a collection of the black and the white ones, so I can take photos for the white label listings that I'm going to do, because I will give the choice of either having black or white labels, tubes. I do white tubes for my vegan ones and black tubes for my beeswax ones, so they're easy to identify which ones are which. But you know, not everyone likes the black tubes, so I'm going to give the option of people can have them in whichever colour tubes they want, and I will actually have both the vegan and the beeswax recipes available. I've been having a look at which fragrances I can offer, which ones I've actually got enough to be able to offer. A lot of my fragrance, or a lot of my flavour oils are actually from the US. Used to get them from Rustic Essentials, and Wholesale Supplies Plus took over them, and they've got rid of most of the lip balm flavours, which I am absolutely devastated about. And it was just a good job that at the time that the takeover did happen, I did put in a massive order to get lip balm flavouring in, and I got all the really popular ones in big bottles. I used to only get them in like little 100ml bottles, and I got them all in, well, they're not 100ml, what are they, 4 ounce? I think, and I ended up getting 16-ounce bottles of all the most popular ones, so I've got enough to last me until we work out new things, but it will be those 16-ounce flavours that I've got that I'll actually offer as white label, so there won't be as many sort of standard chocolate, blueberry, vanilla, won't be any of those sort of real standard. Actually there will be blueberry, because that's not a standard to me, but you know, the standard chocolate, vanilla, orange and all of those, I don't offer those as my flavours. So hopefully I'll get all that up, and people will like the idea of doing white label lip balm with me. And then hopefully I can do some white label soaps as well. It has been a really, really quiet week this week. We've only had 2 online orders, and it's been very, very quiet in the shop. It's weeks like this when I do my final cash up for the week, and I just sit there thinking, oh God, am I actually going to survive this? You know, what am I going to do? It has been very, very, very quiet. Between online and in-store, I have not made my rent this week, but I did have a good week last week, and the week before when I did my end of financial year sale. So that is keeping me going. But I'm not going to let it pull me down too much. We've got plans, I've got things to do. It was quiet, so I got a lot done. So as I always say, you know, silver linings, always got to look on the bright side. If it's busy, I can't make, and when it's quiet, then I can actually make stuff. So I think the next step going forward is to start putting some of these white label things into action to really help boost business a little bit. But as I said, it has been a quiet week, but I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling really accomplished. I'm feeling really energetic and lively, and really looking forward to getting home and doing some of this work. I've also got to finish pinning up my quilt when I get home. I'm so gutted. I am missing about, it must be about 2 centimetres off a section of the edge of one of my batting pieces, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to hand stitch a little bit extra on it. There's just no way of getting around it. I don't want to unpin everything I've done to, you know, shuffle it around and pin it all up again. So I'm just going to have to do what I didn't want to do in the first place. But hopefully by the time we get to the next vlog, you'll see me actually sewing that one all together, if not already have it done, because it's going to be some simple quilting. But that is it for this week. I'm going to head off home. Got to go and put those candles in my bag. I'm going to head off home, have the next couple of days off, and try and get some of this admin work done that's going through my head and get all that into place. So thank you so much for coming along with me on this month's vlog. If you enjoyed coming along with me, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one. I'll see you then. Bye.